Good day everyone, so today I'll be presenting first the UML diagram of the disaster alert system, which integrate three behavioral design pattern. The first one is the chain of responsibility, the second one is the mediator, and lastly the observer pattern. So these three patterns work together to simulate how real-world disaster alert process happens, from validating alerts to coordinating emergency departments and finally notifying the public in real time. So in the first let's start with the chain of responsibility pattern, which is shown on the left side of the UML diagram. So the process begins with the disaster alert class, which holds the details of the disaster, such as its type and severity level. Next, we have the abstract class, the alert handler, which defines the structure for all the handlers in the chain. Each handler can either process the alert or pass it to the next one using the set next method. So there are three concrete handlers. The first one is the local sensor handler. The next one is the regional office handler, and the last one we have the national center handler. When an alert occurs, it first goes through the local handler. If the severity is too high, it gets passed up to the regional, and finally to the national center. So this flow allows the system to handle alerts flexibly, flexibly without hard coding the responsibility in one place. It passes dynamically along the chain. So after the alert is being validated, we move to the mediator pattern, which can be seen in the center of the UML diagram. So the command center mediator interface defines how department communicates. The central command center class acts as the mediator. It holds a list of departments and ensures that messages are distributed properly. So each department, such as the fire department, the police department, and the hospital, extends from the abstract department class. So instead of departments directly calling each other, they all communicate through the central command center. For example, if the fire department sends an alert like fire detected near the city hall, the mediator broadcasts it to the police and the hospital. So this ensures a clear and organized communication among agencies during a disaster, avoiding confusion and tight coupling between departments. And finally, we move to the observe pattern, shown on the right side of the UML diagram. So here the alert system acts as the subject. It maintains a list of observers, in this case, application or entities that needs to be notified. We have three observers here. We have the citizen app, the news agency, and the rescue team dashboard. So when when the set alert method is called in the alert system, it automatically calls the notify observers, sending the alert message to all registered observers. So this ensures that everyone from citizens, media to rescue teams receive updates instantly and consistently. So at the center of it all is the main class, so which integrates these three patterns. So first, it creates the chain of handler for alert validation. Then it sets up the mediator for communication between departments, and lastly, it initializes the observer-based alert notification system. So in summary, this UML class diagram represents how these three patterns, chain of responsibility, the mediator, and the observer works together to build a flexible, scalable, and reliable disaster alert system. And the chain validates alerts, the mediator coordinates the responses, and the observer notifies everyone who needs to know. So this combination of design pattern demonstrates not just modularity, but also how software design can simulate real-world emergencies communication workflow. So good day everyone. So today I'll be presenting the disaster alert system, which uses three different design behavioral design pattern. So the first thing we use is the chain of responsibility. The next one is the mediator, and lastly the observer. In this system, we simulate how alerts are detected, verified, coordinate, and finally broadcast to the public. So the first thing here I present, or yeah, I will present is the alert validation. So this one uses a chain of responsibility pattern. So this part focuses on how alerts are validated and escalated depending on their severity. So here we have a class called disaster alert, this one. So which simply store the type of disasters and how severe it is. Like for example, it can be flood, or earthquake or typhoon, each with a severity level. And the next one our we have our abstract class called the alert handler. This serves as the base of all our alert handlers, from local to regional and national. It defines the method um, handler alert, and is also and it also has a reference to the next handler in the chain. So here we have our three concrete handlers, which are the local sensor handler, the regional office handler, and the the regional office handler, and lastly the national center handler. So each handler checks if it can handle the alert. If the severity is too high, it passes the alert to the next level. Like for example, the local sensor handler deals with the minor incident. If it's something bigger, it forwards it to the regional office handler. And if it's even more serious, it finally goes to the national center handler, which declare the official warning. So this pattern gives us a clear flow of escalation from local monitoring to regional verification and finally to the national response. It's flexible because we can easily add more levels without changing the rest of the system. Next, let's take a look at our featured solution, our command coordination. So this one uses a mediator pattern. Here we have a system or a feature that simulates communication between emergency departments like the fire department, the police department, and the hospital department, all coordinate through a single command center. So at the very top, the very here, at the top, we have our we have we defined the command center mediator interface. So this defines the basic functions from sending alerts and registering departments. So the bottom of the board under our mediator interface, we have our content mediator. So this one So this one keeps a list of department and handles how message and passwords around. When one department sends a message, the mediator makes sure that all other departments receive it without them needing to talk directly to each other. And next we have the abstract class. This one. We have the abstract class called the department. So this acts as the base of all the departments and includes a send and receive method. So the send method passes the message to the mediator instead of sending it directly to every department. And also we have our fire department, police department, and hospital, which are our colleagues. So each of them can send and receive an alert through the mediator. So in the main or in the main parameter, if the fire department sends an alert, like fire near the um, downtown, the command center will automatically relay the message to both the police and hospital, keeping the communication centralized and organized. So this pattern is great for reducing direct dependencies between classes, making the system easier to manage and scale. So now let's proceed to our last feature, which is the notification or the real-time notification for this system. So here we're simulating how alert can be broadcast to the multiple system at once, like a real disaster alert system. So at the top we have the alert system class. So this acts as the subject, which means it's the one sending out updates. So it keeps a list of observers or subscribers, and whether there's a new alert message, it notifies all of them automatically. So the add observer and the remove observer methods lets different systems subscribe or unsubscribe from the alerts. So when the set alert is called, it updates the alert message and trigger notify observers, which sends that message to everyone who's subscribed. So next we have the observer interface. So this one defines the update method. This is what every observer needs to implement. Then we have our concrete observer. So we have our concrete observer, the citizen app, the news agency, and the rescue team dashboard. So each of this receives the alert in their own way. Like for example, the citizen app might show a notification the news agency might broadcast it, and the rescue team dashboard might display it for response coordination. Like for example, the alert system sends a message like typhoon warning in region 12. All three observers instantly get the message. So this pattern is really useful for real-time notification since it lets multiple components stay updated automatically without tightly connecting. And finally, let's take a look at our main program or our main class. So this one brings all the three design pattern together in one flow. So when we run the program, it starts by printing disaster alert system statement, and then we begin with the feature one, which is the alert validation that uses or implements chain of responsibility design pattern. So here I created a new disaster alert object for flood with the severity of 6. Then I set up the three handlers, the local sensor, the regional office, and the national center. So each one is connected to the next using set next or mina chain. So like when the local handler gets the alert, it checks the severity, and if it's too high, it passes it through the chain until it reaches the level or the right level that can handle it. So this simulates how alerts move from one local to national level depending on how serious they are. And next, we have our feature 2, which is our command coordination. This one also implements the mediator pattern. So here we have the central command center acting as the mediator between the departments. So the fire, which are the fire department, um, police department, and the hospital. So each department registers with the command center.
Then, when the like when the fire department sends a message, for example, um, the fire is detected near the city hall, the mediator sends that message to the other department automatically, keeping the communication organized and centralized. And finally, we have our feature three, which is the notification. So this one implements the observer pattern. So this one handles the real-time communication, communication. So our alert system is the subject and it notifies three observers, the citizen app, the news agency, and the rescue team dashboard. So when we call the set alert, like official flood warning evacuates low-lying area immediately. All these observers instantly receive the sign, I mean receives and display the alert in their own way. So like overall, this main program shows how different design patterns can work together, one managing the alert escalation, another coordinating agency, and and last one keeping everyone informed.